No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of Monday Night Raw for August the 15th, 2022. Usually around mid-August, I'm thinking SummerSlam's coming up soon, but SummerSlam was several weeks ago. We have Clash at the Castle coming up in just under 3 weeks. So let's go ahead and get right into this recap on the road to Clash at the Castle. We actually had a full intro for Raw, which is unusual these days. We had the pyro going off. We had the robot, which is there every week. What's the deal with that robot, by the way? I never understood why that robot is there at the beginning of every show. Is he the official mascot of Monday Night Raw? What's his deal? Anyways, we kicked off the show with a Judgment Day promo in the ring. Everybody suited up. Rhea Ripley talked about how they run Monday Night Raw. She said she's Dominic's pappy and she destroyed his soul. Finn Balor said the Mysterios are not there. And then Damian Priest talked about how Edge is in Toronto promoting his first match on Raw in over a decade, which is, well, next week. And Priest said that he is going to send Edge back into retirement. Rey Mysterio showed up out of nowhere, attacked them, but then Rhea Ripley got involved. She was taunting Mysterio. A chair got thrown into the ring. Rey was using it, but then Rhea Ripley shielded Finn Balor, and then she grabbed the chair. Damian Priest hit a big boot, and then Rhea Ripley actually gave Rey Mysterio a DDT on the steel chair. Then the chair was laid out on Rey, and Finn Balor came off the top with the coup de grace, taking out Rey Mysterio. Rey's attempt to fight off Judgment Day was unsuccessful. I liked this angle, but let's be real here. This was more about promoting next week's episode of Raw. It was what it was, but I thought it was a good promo. Then we had our women's tag team title match, tournament match. Alexa Bliss and Asuka going up against Nikki, still ASH for some reason. Triple H, let's get moving here. Let's drop this superhero gimmick, please. And speaking of dropping names, how about dropping the name Doudrop? How about we have Nikki Cross and Piper Niven moving forward? Let's get the ball rolling on that. Just saying. Anyways, Bianca Belair was out there on the ringside area, outside of the ring, providing some support for her friends, Alexa Bliss and Asuka. She's going to be teaming up with them at Clash at the Castle. Walter Cruz sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Walter. Says, say yes to no DQ, like, share, hashtag stick to my shtick. Appreciate that, Walter. Thank you for tuning in tonight. So Nikki and Doudrop got the advantage after Alexa and Asuka had a pretty hot start. And then I tagged in, cleaned house, but then Doudrop grabbed her foot from the outside of the ring. Doudrop then tagged in, hit a Michinoku driver, but Asuka kicked out. Alexa then tagged in, hit the DDT, and then Asuka came back in, put on the submission, and Alexa Bliss took out Nikki Cross on the outside of the ring, Nikki Ash, whatever, and then Doudrop tapped out. No surprise here. Alexa and Asuka advance, and then Team Bayley showed up to confront the winners at the stage along with Bianca Belair. You had referees, officials, Kenny Dykstra, formerly of the Spirit Squad. He was out there trying to break things up. Dr. Dakota Scorpio sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says 3 hours plus a dead crowd made this show boring for me. Would you guys agree with Dr. Scorpio or not? I will give you my thoughts later on. You have to wait for my thoughts. I do not think Nikki Ash and Doudrop have won a match if I'm remembering correctly. Maybe they did and it was just so forgettable, but they need a makeover. Drop the superhero gimmick, drop the Doudrop name. Let's do something here with them. Hamp Connor with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. Says, today in history, 2004 Kane defeats Matt Hardy for the right to marry Lita in a Death Do Us Part match. Till death do us part. Randy Orton wins his first world title. So that was SummerSlam then. That was when Randy Orton got in the ring and the world title was just laying there. He picked it up, and because he was the one that picked it up on that night, he was crowned the new champion. We had Austin Theory interviewed backstage, making his first appearance in SummerSlam. He talked about still being Mr. Money in the Bank, and he's still the undisputed, handpicked future of the business. And he said he made a slight miscalculation at SummerSlam, but now he's wiser. He's going to be more dangerous. Dolph Ziggler confronted him. Theory called him a has-been, and Ziggler responded with a headbutt. Big fight broke out, and that set up our main event. Dolph Ziggler main eventing Raw against Austin Theory. What is this, NXT? We had Ciampa and The Miz cutting a backstage promo, and Miz basically blamed Styles for Ciampa losing the United States title match against Bobby Lashley. Miz made, I guess you could call it, a friendship necklace for Ciampa and had a little picture of the two of them, and Miz had one as well. And they had a match against Mustafa Ali and Cedric Alexander. Ali Xander, I guess you could call them. They cut a little promo before the match talking about how they're going to show the world what they can do. Apparently, they haven't been doing that for the past 4 or 5 years, and now they're really going to be able to show what they can do. So we had this tag team match, which was a really good tag team match. I enjoyed it. Crowd was chanting tiny balls at The Miz. And Cedric and Ali got a lot of offense in. Cedric even had Miz beat at one point, but Ciampa put Miz's foot on the rope. Ali hit a dive, knocking Ciampa over the desk. Ciampa was eventually able to tag back in. Ali went for the 450 on The Miz, but Miz rolled out of the way. And as Ali was coming down, Ciampa caught him with a knee to the face. Like, the timing of this was perfect. Great spot here. And then Ciampa hit the fairy tale ending on Ali and got the 1-2-3 victory. At some point during this match, I'm not sure when, Miz got his nose all busted up. But yeah, good match here, and I loved the moment here where Ali got caught with the 450, Ciampa coming across the ring. I enjoyed this. Solid match here. We had a clip of Ezekiel's dad, and they had a photo. So Ezekiel is in the hospital with a neck brace, and he might be out of action for a very long time. And Ezekiel's father was interviewed, and he's not happy at all. And now you got the whole family upset. So what does this mean now? Do we get another character? Is this going to be like the Three Faces of Foley, but there's just all these different family members, Elias, Elrod, the dad, Ezekiel. The whole family is going to come after Kevin Owens one by one, apparently, or maybe not. Maybe this is the end of it. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, do you think the reason Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali haven't gone far in WWE is because of their heights and weren't jacked as Vince McMahon would have liked? Yeah, very much. I mean, they were brought in for the 205 Live Cruiserweight division. And they were slotted as cruiserweight guys. And yeah, they're not the big 6'4" guys. And if you're somebody like Daniel Bryan and you can talk, or Sami Zayn, one of those guys that can cut a great promo, then you're going to be utilized. But if you're just a really good wrestler who's small, then you're going to have a ceiling. And that was the Vince McMahon approach. Will it be different now? Hey, they're getting TV time, so I guess that's a positive. And they're able to go out there and wrestle. That's also a positive. We had Drew McIntyre, who's part of SmackDown, but hey, why not? Show up on Raw, I guess, to prove a point. He once again brought up how Roman Reigns no-showed Monday Night Raw despite being the champion, and he's going to rectify this in just a few weeks. And he's going to show up everywhere as champion. He's going to defend the title everywhere because that's what the title deserves, what the fans deserve. And he brought up the back injury reports, and he said it's true. However, he's got a back injury because he's been carrying the load of 20 men for 3 years in WWE. He said this is not a job. He does this with a smile on his face. It's his dream. And he talked about how he was on Raw to scout out opponents. I like how they're trying to have a logical reason for him being there. He mentioned a bunch of people, and then all of a sudden he got interrupted by Kevin Owens. And Owens did this great promo, said McIntyre's a dumbass for thinking he's carrying anybody. Owens said he's as real as it gets in the business. He brought up how him and Sami Zayn tore the house down at Battleground, and people are still talking about it 5 years later. I love Kevin Owens, but I don't know if people are necessarily talking about it 5 years later. It was an awesome match, though. And Sami Zayn brought it up on the Broken Skull session. So, yeah, Sami Zayn brought it up. Owen said he misses the old KO. Time to bring back the prize fighter. He said he hasn't held a title in 5 years. And he said enough is enough, and it's time for a change. A little reference to Owen Hart. That was cool. Unfortunately, the crowd didn't react to the line. That kind of sucked, but I appreciated it. I'm sure a lot of people did. And McIntyre got fired up. He was pissed. He said that he's been working his ass off. He got fired. He had to come back. He said it's time to stop talking. He said they can call themselves sports entertainers, but they're wrestlers, and let's freaking wrestle. And Kevin Owens accepted the challenge. I loved both guys on the mic here. Both guys sounded like they were speaking from the heart, not talking from a script. Definitely felt more authentic than a lot of the promos we have heard on WWE television in recent months. And Walter Cruz sent in a $2 super chat, says KO and Drew McIntyre both cut some damn good promos. I agree with you. They can cut damn good promos with a script or without a script, but without a script, I think they're even better. And Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat, says, what would a win at Clash at the Castle do for Drew's career? It would give him the moment he did not get at WrestleMania. Yes, he was the champ, but it was during the pandemic when there were no fans. This would really allow him to have that opportunity to be the man with the live crowds and put his money where his mouth is, go to all the live events and have a chance to try and be a draw as champion. He never really got that opportunity because the pandemic screwed everything up. Anyways, Drew McIntyre versus Kevin Owens. This was a hell of a match. I mean, these guys were going at it like it was a pay-per-view match. Owens sent McIntyre into the ring post, did the suck it crotch chops, did the cannonball. McIntyre took control, did the crotch chop back at him. And McIntyre was sent into the post head first, went to the outside of the ring. Owens did a splash off the apron, and then after the commercial break, they went back and forth. Owens hit a swanton, but McIntyre kicked out. Crowd was chanting, "This is awesome." McIntyre hit an avalanche white noise, but there was a kick out from Owens. And they hit several moves: Glasgow kiss, super kick, clothesline, everybody down. Then they started trading blows. Like, this was feeling very much like an AEW match that we see every week, but we don't see it that often on Raw. So, this was one of those types of matches, back and forth. Got into the hockey fight. McIntyre hit the Future Shock DDT. Then he was signaling for the Claymore. And here's where it's different from AEW, because AEW would not do a 20-minute match with a screwy non-finish. But it's Monday Night Raw. It must be Monday. And like Hamp said, 20 minutes that went nowhere. Usos come in for the DQ. Again, just like the old regime, you book a match with two guys. You don't want either one losing, so you go with the DQ finish, which, for those of you that have listened to my recaps, I'm fine with that, but do we really need a 20-minute match that's just going to end in a DQ? Like, that kind of shit makes me not want to invest in the first place, because in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, well, why should I bother caring about this if it's just going to end in a DQ? I mean, that's my thoughts on it. So I was a little disappointed that they did the DQ here. I think Owens could have taken the L here. I know they're trying to build him back up, but McIntyre's the number one contender, or just don't book the match. Hank Schrader on the shitter sent in a $2 super chat, says, "Hope you are well. Triple H might get me to watch again." Hank Schrader on the shitter. How's it going, man? Hope you're doing well. And yeah, I've heard a lot of people say they're going to give Raw another chance. What's worse, a DQ or a roll-up win? I mean, roll-up wins are not great either, because it's basically like a fluke win. But yeah, the DQ just, means all that for nothing, basically. So Usos came in, and then McIntyre fought them off. Owens hit a stunner, went over to the Usos and said that the tribal chief owes him one. He left. Owens then, after he was gone, Usos tried to hit the 1D, but McIntyre fought them off again, so the stunner really meant nothing, and McIntyre got the upper hand here. So if this is leading to what I'm hoping happens with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn as a babyface tag team going for the titles, I would be more accepting of this. But, again, I've been conditioned for all these years to think like this is going nowhere and this is not the direction. But I'm hoping so. I'm remaining optimistic that this is a little tease for Owens and Sami Zayn eventually getting back together to feud with the Usos. And Hoof Hearted, haven't heard from Hoof Hearted in a while, said, "Everybody is returning around here. Why not me?" Yeah, we got Hank Schrader on the shitter, Hoof Hearted, Ken terminated by DQ, recently came back. Like, we got some of the old school people returning to the chat room, which is much appreciated. Thank you all for tuning in tonight, by the way. And if you're enjoying the video, please give it a thumbs up. Spread the word. Tell a friend about NoDQ.com. And hope you'll stick around for more. Moving on here, we had Seth Franklin Rollins come into the ring for a promo. He basically wanted a front row seat to celebrate Riddle's retirement. Riddle, they were teasing a big announcement with him. Riddle appeared on the Tron, said that he has a medical update. He does have a medical update, but the update says that he is cleared. He is ready to go. Next time he sees Seth, it's on. And Seth was like, it's just going to be like all the other times. And he's always one step ahead. But then Riddle had one little swerve for Seth freaking Rollins and said that he is actually not in his mom's basement via satellite. He is actually there in Washington, D.C. He ran down to the ring and they got into a brawl. Rollins attempted to hit the curb stop on the announce table, but he missed. And then Riddle sent him over the barricade. Riddle chased Rollins. Rollins ran all the way up into the concession stands. And then Riddle celebrated with the fans and was all fired up. And after the commercial break, Riddle officially challenged Seth freaking Rollins to a match at Clash at the Castle. No real surprise here that this match was set up, but good angle. I liked it. Then we had Veer Mahan, who is still a thing in WWE. Veer picked up a win over this guy who tried to keep his distance, but did not work out for him very long. Veer hit the $1 million elbow, put on the cervical clutch. So I guess Veer and Omos are still around for the time being. Maybe they'll alternate doing squash matches every week, and don't know what's going to happen with them. And quite frankly, don't really care. We had Bayley's crew interviewed backstage, and they were talking about how they're going to be winning a lot more in the future. And then Dakota Kai approached Dana Brooke, who still has the 24/7 title. So Triple H, let's go here. Let's get rid of this damn thing. Why do we still have the 24/7 title? Dakota Kai said maybe Dana Brooke should be scared. Dana said she's ready 24/7, whatever. Then we had the United States Championship match, Bobby Lashley versus AJ Styles. And this was a really good match between these guys. You got the dueling chants. Both of them were on the outside of the ring. Styles had a forearm off the apron. And then back in the ring, Lashley sent Styles into the post. And at this point, we had Miz and Ciampa showing up. And they were providing a distraction. Ciampa got on the apron, distracting Lashley and the referee. Miz went over for a cheap shot. But then all of a sudden, Dexter Lumis climbed over the barricade. He was quickly apprehended. And you had Jimmy Smith bringing up how he was Dexter Lumis. And just to let the fans know who he was. And Corey Graves was like, let's not even give this guy the time of day. So, you know, they're still trying to act like Dexter Lumis isn't supposed to be there, or he doesn't work for the company, or something like that. Anyways, match continued, and Lashley speared the Miz. Ciampa got thrown out by the referee, so it was back to one-on-one. They had some near-fall exchanges, and they had a little cool moment where Styles put on the calf crusher, and Lashley countered it into the Hurt Lock, and Styles had to turn it into a pin in order for Lashley to break the hold. Crowd started chanting, "This is awesome." And then Lashley avoided the forearm and hit the spear to pick up the win. I like that Lashley got the victory here. Another successful title defense. And the match was very good. I did enjoy the match, although I think that they're going too much into that. We got to have the kickouts at 2 every single match to get the "this is awesome" chance. You know, AEW does the same thing, and after a while, it gets a little old. So then we had Dakota Kai versus Dana Brooke. No entrance for Brooke. This was a showcase match for Dakota Kai. Dana got very little offense. Dakota Kai hit the running boot in the corner, picked up the win. Not much else to say. D. Martin V with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, kind of feels like Triple H is featuring the secondary titles like main event titles. That is true. But you know what? I think the U.S. title should have been the main event. I don't think it should be on an hour before the main event. Just saying. Like, your main event is Dolph Ziggler versus Theory. I know they're high on Theory. They still are. Dolph Ziggler is Dolph Ziggler. I haven't cared about him in the longest time. So it's like, why am I still watching Raw at the end? Like, I should just turn it off. Like, if it wasn't my job, I'd be like, okay, yeah, Dolph Ziggler, I'm done for the night. Anyways, it was a good match, but again, kind of like the other matches with all the kick outs. Ziggler hit this avalanche face smasher theory, kicked out. Ziggler hit the Fameasser theory, kicked out. Zigzag, another kick out. Theory tried to win with his feet on the ropes, a roll up, but the referee caught him. And then Theory caught Ziggler, hit the A-Town down, and got the victory. So nice win for Theory. Absolutely the right guy won this match. I definitely think that was needed. Unfortunately, there was like no cliffhanger at the end here. You know, they were doing good the past few weeks, but nothing. Theory wins. Then, yeah, Edge is coming back next week. We already knew that. And that was that. So ending kind of felt a little flat in my opinion. All in all, Raw was pretty decent. But I think the biggest problem here was it was a skippable show. It very much felt like a filler show, but the matches were good. U.S. title was defended. That was good. And they built up next week. So, yeah, next week should be a pretty interesting show. This week, if you missed it, I mean, it wasn't the end of the world. You really did not miss anything that was must-see, in my opinion. It was a solid show, B-, not great, but if you watched it, you probably would get some enjoyment out of it. So, yeah, B-, somewhat recommend. Wrestling was good. Crowd was a little flat at times. And yes, Dustin, I am being positive. B- is, you know, pretty solid. James L. with a $7 super chat says, agreed. I stopped after AJ Styles. I felt like Drew McIntyre and KO should have been later too, since they have both been main eventers. That would have been a better main event, or putting the U.S. title in the main event spot. Next week, we got Raw in Toronto with Edge versus Priest. They've been hyping that one up. So next week should be a pretty big show, and we're getting closer to Clash at the Castle. And overall, the show is still fairly good. I just wish they had a little bit more story going on, little more intrigue to keep me hooked throughout the show. It was just like match, kick out, kick out, kick out, match, kick out, kick out, kick out, match, kick out, kick out, kick out. You know, it gets a little old. You got to vary it up a little bit and change things up. Just my opinion. If they start doing this every single week, it's going to get old fast. Like AEW does it sometimes, and you know they're guilty of it too. But they do try to change things up with the match types and do a variety of different types of matches. But yeah, when they do the matches with all the near falls, yeah, it gets the "this is awesome" chant. But after a while, to me, it gets boring. But that's just my opinion. So, anyways, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate your continued viewership and support. And again, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you thought I was too negative, then tell me to go to hell, and I'll see you around. Thank you all so much again. Much love to everybody. Enjoy your week. No DQ Review 200 coming up Thursday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Stay tuned for that. Going to be a fun one. And remember to say yes to NoDQ.com. See you all next time.